In this video, we will cover truncation, plurals, possessives, and synonyms. Truncation using root expanders is a powerful tool when you're crafting an effective terms and connectors search. By using a root expander, the exclamation point, you can retrieve words with a variety of endings, up to 16 characters even. For example, drunk with an exclamation point retrieves drunk, drunken, and drunkard. One caveat though, you have to be careful not to truncate too much. You see in my example on the screen, DEPO might be useful if you think you're going to retrieve forms of the word deposition, but you have to be careful because it's going to retrieve a lot of other words as well, like deposit, deposited, deport, etc. You have to think about truncation in connection with plurals. So the singular form of a word automatically retrieves the plural and possessive forms of the word, including the irregular forms. The opposite is not true, however. The plural or possessive will not retrieve the singular. In our example here on the screen, you can see that woman retrieves women, womans, and women's. You don't even have to think about it. But if you make the word plural or possessive, you will not get the singular form of the word woman. So if you're confused about what to do, keep this one simple rule in mind. Use the singular form of a word unless you have a good reason not to. Now there are multiple ways to describe the same concept or object, but search engines in Westlaw and Lexis that are running terms and connectors search are very specific and that they will generally only look for exactly what you tell them to look for. For example, if you're looking for information related to cars, but you fail to include the term automobiles in your search, you will only retrieve documents that have the word cars in them, even though your document may contain the word automobiles. To get around this shortcoming, when creating your search, you need to account for all the ways in which your concept or object could possibly be described by a judge or legislature. For example, if you were searching in the employment termination context, you might want to use synonyms such as terminate, or discharge, or dismiss, or fire. Now let's put it all together. Remember the hypothetical we had earlier about the locker room search? Here's an example of a good terms and connectors search. Notice the synonyms, see the root expander for seizure. But what about those parentheses? Those are not quotation marks. I repeat, they are not quotation marks indicating that this is a phrase. You can use parentheses like in a math equation. You're telling the system, process this first. Now don't panic. I repeat, don't panic. Parentheses are your friend when you're confused. You don't have to overthink them. You can really use them to just specify the order if you have any doubt about how the system's going to process the words that you have strung together. Now, some of you are going to overthink this. That's why you're here in law school. This is the order of processing for those of you who can't help but overthink, but you really don't have to memorize this. The system in general processes in an order that you would expect it to, but if you're concerned, use those parentheses. Now my final piece of advice is to take advantage of the helpline resources. Both Lexis and Westlaw employ bar-admitted attorneys who are very skilled at creating queries. Use them. You can contact them via chat or phone. For example, I had a student in my advanced legal research course. He would call the chat line or call the telephone line, the 1-800 support line, as he was driving to work. He would describe what kind of search he was trying to do. Oftentimes this attorney on the other end at Westlaw or Lexis would run the search for him, go ahead and send the search results to his email. When he got into work, there sitting waiting for him was a nice search with the results of exactly what he wanted. This concludes the Terms and Connector video tutorial series. Now let's practice a little bit more with terms and connectors searching.